Good morning, and welcome back to the 80s. Today is Thursday, January 4th. I'm Marcy. And I'm Naomi. Teachers Day, Day 3 rotation. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and I'll be here. As a reminder, Pop Club will be meeting this Friday. We'll now hear from our principal, Mr. Linciotti.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Good morning and welcome to Thursday. Not just any ordinary Thursday. It is the 80th day of school, which means we are taking it back to the 80s. And so, teachers out there who dress accordingly, you look awesome. I love it. Kids out there who dress accordingly, I also love it. And let it be a good lesson for you too, to what true fashion really was. And with that, I want to take a second to just talk about the 80s. And when we talk about the 80s, we're talking about a decade, series of 10 years. And why I want to bring it up and why it's fun to celebrate is because there's a lot of lessons, I think, that we can learn from the time in the 80s. And I want to touch on a couple of them. First of all, it was a time when things were simpler. We have so many things today, guys. We have so many things that are a distraction to us. I mean, we literally have computers in our pockets that we pull out and we're on it all the time. But when things were simple, when we didn't have these kinds of things, it didn't distract us. These things that we have today distract us from the things that are important, like conversations with people, like time spent with your family, like time playing outside. Or how about this? Even when you do play outside, how many of you need constant entertainment or need things to play with? When was the last time you just played outside with a stick and imagined something that was there that actually wasn't there? Or when you invented something or built something that you then used to play with? Those are the times, and that's the important stuff right there, using your imagination, being creative, and not just needing something to entertain you or somebody to tell you what to do. When sneakers didn't have to be white. I was just talking with one of you guys out there who stepped in some mud and got their sneakers white or dirty. They're white sneakers. So who cares? Sneakers are supposed to be dirty. Why? Because we play in them. That's the point. And in the 80s, we wore our Converse, whatever they were, and we ran outside and we played and we got dirty. And we didn't care about how dirty or how clean our sneakers are because sneakers are meant to be played with. And also was a time where you had to work for what you wanted. Nothing was right at our fingertips at all times. Now, if you wonder something, you just get on that computer in your pocket and you look it up. Well, in the 80s, you had to actually read or do some research or be curious and find out and talk to people to learn some things. So here are some examples of a couple of these things. First of all, phones. Now we have them in our pockets. When the phones rang, we could get up and go somewhere to actually answer them. And then when we were on the phone, we had to stand where we were because they had cords. They didn't go anywhere. But then at one point, they invented a mobile phone that looked like that. It wasn't fitting in your pockets, guys, but that was a big deal right there. Roller skating. And we still roller skate today. And actually, when you go to the roller skate rink, they still rent things like that. But what I thought was cool about roller skating back in the day or in the 80s was that was where we went. Like, it was cool. That's where you met up. That's where everyone from school was. And it was a simple way to hang out, and it was in person. It wasn't online or on the phones. When we wanted to listen to music portably, we had to carry that around. That was a boombox right there. So we had to lug this thing around to listen to our music. But even better than that right here, that's where your music went in the form of a cassette tape. That's right. And in that cassette tape was actual tape, where the music was recorded. And I thought that picture was awesome because anybody who grew up in the 80s knew what it was like to have to wind up that tape back inside the cassette because it came unwound all the time. Or when you got to the end of the tape and you wanted to listen to the first song again, you had to rewind it, which took I don't know, a minute or two to rewind and go all the way back to the beginning. Simple times, but also things you had to work. Speaking of working for it, the TV. If you wanted to change the channel on the TV, you had to get up and you had to walk to the TV and either turn dials or push buttons. And then when you looked at the picture, it wasn't always clear. So you had these antennas up here, you had to work antennas to try to get the signal right so you could watch TV. But the point is, and you appreciated it because you had to work for it. That's a VCR, ladies and gentlemen. You didn't have every movie you wanted at your fingertips, right? You actually had to go to a store, a video store, and rent a movie that came in that kind of cassette, and then come home and pop it in there into your VCR. And if you wanted to rewind it or play, get up and go and push the button on your VCR. Then you had to return the cassette. What if you didn't like the movie after 10 minutes? Well, you either watched it or you didn't, but you didn't just have all these options at your fingertips. It helped you appreciate what you did have a little bit more. Game Boys, this was late 80s, early 90s, but this is the first kind of portable video game where everything was small and black and white. And finally, if you want to record something today, guys, it's way too easy to pull out your phone and record something. Well, back in the 80s, you had to carry this camcorder around, which held a video cassette inside of it and had a little microphone up here. You had to lug that thing around and record. And you were also limited by how much you could actually fit on that cassette tape. So, but when you did, you were really proud of it, or you really thought through what you wanted to record because you didn't just have unlimited space and you didn't have unlimited opportunity in your pocket to do that. So what that means is not only did we have to work for it, but that caused us to appreciate it a little bit more. So hopefully your teachers take some time to teach you a little bit more about the 80s in a slower way here. I'm moving really fast, but it was a time where things were simple and we had to work for things, which helped us to enjoy it. And those are some really good lessons that we could carry on in our lives. Don't care about the whiteness of your sneakers. Play outside and get them dirty. And with that said, I hope you all have a radical day. Party on, dudes. Together we are.
Happy Easter!